Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gratitude Tuesday. My name is Raina, and I am a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 scientifically proven facts of gratitude. And this is an article from intentioninspired.com by Asanya Roche. It starts out talking about as we grow up, our parents and the society encourage us to be grateful. Even children's books and cartoons do the same. A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh is an illustrative example of such influence. Piglet noticed that even though he had a very small heart, it could hold a rather large amount of gratitude. The fact that the world recognizes the importance of gratefulness is truly amazing, and learning how to be thankful for life's simple wonders is one of the best gifts children can receive from their parents. However, even though there is an evident aura of positivity around gratitude, and we know it is a precious emotion, no one ever bothered to give us more detailed explanation. That is why today we are digging deeper and explaining what gratitude is and why is it in fact so great from a scientific standpoint. I like that they started talking about like the Winnie the Pooh and has a small heart with such a great amount of gratitude, because that's true. Like it's really about what you make of it. And we are, like when we're growing up, your parents were always saying, okay, say thank you. Every time something, I still do it with my granddaughter. Oh, be sure you say thank you. And it's not just being polite. It's about truly being thankful for things. So we're going to first talk about how do we define gratitude. Robert Emmons, the psychology professor at the University of California and world's leading expert on gratitude, proposes that gratitude has 2 critical components. According to Emmons, first, we recognize that there are good things in the world, various benefits and gifts we are receiving. Then we realize that the primary sources of this goodness are often outside of ourselves, brought upon us by other people or even a higher power. In collaboration with other researchers, Emmons underlines the social aspect of the phenomenon. They say that gratitude is a relationship strengthening emotion. It makes us appreciate the gifts we've been given, but also inspires us to repay for those gifts. It strengthens the bonds between individuals who mutually help each other out. And that's very true. You'll notice that the relationships that you have that are the strongest are ones that are equal. And ones where both people are putting in the same amount of effort and the same amount of appreciation, and not the ones where things kind of seem to be like, well, you're doing more or you're taking more. When you're truly grateful for the things that you are given from, by someone else, you are more inclined to give back in return. So now that we know that what gratitude is, we can proceed to learn more about its specific benefits, effects, and other intriguing facts scientists uncovered in the past few decades. So talk about how gratitude can make you physically healthier. It might seem like some power of positive thinking jibber jabber at first, but it's true. Gratitude is beneficial for our health. Personality and Individual Differences Journal published a study back in 2012, which shows that grateful people tend to experience fewer pains and aches and overall feel healthier than other people. And I can completely understand this because with someone that suffers from depression, and I notice that when mentally I don't feel as well, physically I don't feel as well. So when I feel better mentally, I feel better physically. I have more energy. I'm more social, like all these different things that where your mood really does affect the way that you feel physically. And this says at the same time, Wendy Berry Mendez, San Francisco professor, reports her preliminary findings that grateful people have lower blood pressure, lower bad cholesterol, and higher good cholesterol. Professor Mendez explains that this may be due to gratitude's positive effects on stress level. You can understand that too, because if you're someone that is anxious all the time, or angry, or get worked up, like those types of things are going to raise your blood pressure. But if you are someone who's more calm and takes things in and, just kind of like goes with the flow, you tend to be physically just more at peace. Thankful people often perceive their health as a blessing or a gift. This is why they are motivated to take better care of themselves. Robert Emmons and his fellow researcher, Mike McCullough, asked people to set aside a few minutes once a week to write down 5 things they are grateful for. We talk about this a lot in this group about, either doing it daily, doing it weekly. Some people like to do it in the morning to start their day off on a positive note. Others like to do it at night to kind of reflect back on the day and focus more on the positive to help with sleep. So no matter how you want to do that, taking the time to write down a few things that you're grateful for is going to be very beneficial. So they did this for 10 weeks in a row. When this experiment was done, they realized these people spent more time exercising and were more likely to attend regular health checkups than the control group. In a similar study, participants kept a gratitude journal every day for 2 weeks. One team of examinees suffered from neuromuscular disorders, and this exercise improved their sleep. After only 2 weeks of practicing gratitude, they were able to fall asleep faster, slept longer, and reported they started waking up more refreshed, which led to a conclusion that counting blessings is much more efficient than counting sheep. And very, very true. And I think that all goes back to laying down with a clear mind, laying down with a positive, thoughts in your mind. And, helping with the sleep is much easier to relax than if you're worried or anxious or angry or upset about something. Those types of things are going to keep you up. So the next part talks about how gratitude can increase your psychological strength. Other than being beneficial for your physical health, gratitude can improve your mental health and aid mental hygiene too. Again, Emmons and his team found that gratitude has the potential to reduce the frequency of various toxic emotions, such as envy, resentment, frustration, and regret. Their results confirm that gratefulness reduces depression, increases happiness, and improves overall well-being. And we talk about that well-being in here as well. And having that self-care. And that's not just, getting our hair done or getting a massage or, the cliche things that we think of when it comes to self-care. That comes to having gratitude as well. It's having a positive mindset. It's letting go of, regrets and resentments and all these things that tend to weigh us down. So, it's much more involved than what we see or feel on this, on the surface of things. It's getting down and, searching on the inside and replacing, say, I hate to use the word hate or, resentment, whatever it may be, with gratitude. It can really help your psychological well-being. Self-esteem is often considered to be the solid base of mental health. The Journal of Applied Sports Psychology published a study that confirmed gratitude increases athletes' self-esteem, which is a crucial component for optimal performance. Stress reduction, overcoming trauma, and resilience growth also correlate with gratitude. For example, a study published in the Behavior Research and Therapy reported that Vietnam War vets who had higher levels of gratitude experienced fewer symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. At the same time, thankfulness was found to be a significant contributor to resilience in the 9/11 terrorist attack survivors. Journal of Personality and Social Psychology published a study which concluded that if you can experience gratitude even during the worst times, it will improve your resilience. This is the difference between feeling like a victim versus a survivor. When we feel like a victim, it's a lot of self-pity and, sadness and negativity. All those things are going to keep us in that mentality, and it's going to keep us stuck. But when we look at the being a survivor aspect of it, we can have some gratitude for the fact that, the people that survived the 9/11 attacks, having some gratitude for the fact that you are still here. We see this in recovery a lot. Once you come into recovery and you're here for a little while, Unfortunately, loss is very common. I was only like a few months clean and I lost my best friend to an overdose suicide. I could have used that as an excuse to go back to using. I could have sat in the pity. I could have sat in the sadness, and very easily going back to using to mask my feelings. But instead, I chose to use that as motivation to keep going. I saw how, he left a little boy behind. Like, I still am there for this little boy almost 6 years later. I just had him over the weekend. I use that as motivation to keep going, to not be a statistic, to not get stuck in the cycle. So it's really about how you look at things. And that's one thing that is very, very difficult especially when you first come into recovery, because we are just so stuck in all this shame and this guilt and this sadness and this self-loathing that trying to see outside of that is very difficult. It takes time. But if you look at the things that, you still have in your life, it makes it a little easier to keep going. I looked at the fact, and still do, that, my parents were being supportive. That my job took me back. Just different things that could have gone the other way. So instead of looking at the fact that, okay, I don't have my house anymore. I lost my house. It got foreclosed. I had to stay with family. So I could have looked at it like, oh, poor me, I lost my house, this is my life's over, whatever, there's thoughts, there's negative things we tell ourselves. But instead I was like, you know what, I have a roof over my head, because I know plenty of people that don't. So I had to look at those little things that I used to take for granted. And it really, really started to shape my outlook on life and life and recovery. So the next thing we're going to talk about is gratitude can boost romantic and professional relationships. As we already mentioned, gratitude is a significant part of social relationships. When you know it inspires active kindness, you won't be surprised to hear that being grateful reduces aggression and enhances empathy. Researchers from the University of Kentucky have shown that grateful people are more likely to have pro-social manners. Participants who scored higher on gratitude scales retaliated against others less often, even when they were given negative feedback. They expressed more empathy and sensitivity and were less revengeful. And this is one thing that, I have learned being in recovery, being a part of a 12-step fellowship, is that everyone is where they are, and we can accept them for where they are and have empathy for where they are. Or we can let it affect us when really it has nothing to do with us. And having the empathy for, where someone is and not letting the way that they're acting or the way that they're behaving, upset me, makes my stress levels a lot less. Because getting worked up about what other people are doing and you have no control over it. So that empathy and that sensitivity for others, instead of retaliating, someone, does something to you, whatever it may be, we always have the option of, okay, you did this, so I'm going to go break your window or slash your tires, or one of many things that people think are going to solve their problems. Instead, you just listen, you know what I mean? They acted the way they did what they did. You're allowed to, be upset about it, but, letting it go isn't letting it go for them. It's letting it go for you. It's one of those things we talk about having, forgiving people. It comes along with that. You can forgive, someone else for the things that they have done to you. That doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It just means that you are letting go of the weight of carrying it around. And that comes along with what they're talking about as far as having that gratitude and being able to have more empathy. So it goes on to say, when it comes to romantic relationships, Algo Fredrickson and Gable conducted a study and found that after receiving gratitude, participants reported their significant others were more responsive to their needs and generally more satisfied with the relationship. These effects were still present 6 to 9 months later. A national survey on gratitude, which included over 2,000 American citizens, found that the last place where people are likely to receive or express gratitude is at their workplace. 60% of people reported they had never voiced gratitude at work, while 10% of them would say thank you to their colleagues on any given day. I believe that just the simple thank you goes a very long way, because, especially so in your work environment, you know what I mean? Someone helps you with something, thank you. Even if it's something simple, by not saying it, you can make the other person feel like they're being taken advantage of, or that, you don't appreciate the things that they have done to you or for you. That simple thank you can just go so far. And, working with the people that you work with instead of against them. I hear like, oh, that's not my job, or, whatever the case may be. You can be that way, but all it's going to do is make things more difficult. So you can say, oh, that's not my job. Or you can say, well, I can help for like 5 to 10 minutes and then I have to get back to doing this. It's not about letting them walk all over you or letting them take advantage of you. It's just giving a little bit of time to make things a little bit easier, because in the long run, it's going to have a more positive effect on everyone. It's one of the things I love about working here. We all have like such a great relationship, and we're all supportive and we work together. And we know that like if someone's out sick or someone can't do this, that one of us is going to pick up wherever the other was. So that way things continue to run smoothly. To say that I'm not going to do that because that's his job, even though he's not here today. No. It doesn't work that way. Because now that's going to start affecting the people that are coming in to see us. If we're not working together and we're not being supportive of each other, how do people who are coming in expect us to be that for them? Even though we are. But if you were to see that kind of activity going on in a workplace, it tends to shut you off from wanting to be there. And as far as like the romantic relationships, showing others that you're grateful is huge. I know. So my boyfriend will thank me for the silliest things. If we're eating and we haven't been watching television and I get up to put my plate in the sink, I will grab his. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Like, you're welcome. To me, it's not that big of a deal. But for him, he wants me to know that he appreciates that I'm doing that, and I do the same thing for him, okay, you ran the dishwasher. Thank you. I appreciate that. Whatever it may be, even though those are just things that we're supposed to be doing as a couple in a home, it's good to let them know that you are doing it, because where he came from, past relationships, the other person didn't do any of that. So for him, it means something. It shows that I care and I want to put in as much effort as he is. And for me, it's the same thing, coming from, past relationships that were toxic. For someone to appreciate something that I'm doing instead of putting me down or, making me feel that I'm not, involved or worthy or whatever the case may be, I want him to know that I appreciate that. So those types of things can go a really long way, and especially in the communication aspect and having just this positivity in your relationship. So the next little section talks about how gratitude can be different for boys and girls. The national study we mentioned above also revealed some interesting information on gender differences when it comes to gratitude. According to this research, women tend to be more grateful than men. Same goes for youngsters. The Youth Gratitude Project reports that girls are more thankful than boys, which raises the question, when does this difference first appear? These findings were confirmed by another study, which says that American men, in comparison to American women and German men, feel more uncomfortable expressing gratitude. And I think this might just be from, the aspect of men are supposed to be men. Why a lot of men suffer with expressing feelings or showing emotions, because for a long time, like, they were taught that you just don't do that. So expressing gratitude can be misconstrued as showing weakness or, showing your emotions. And as a man, you're not supposed to do that. I would like to think that from the time that this article was written and this research was done, that starts to change, because I've noticed seeing my children grow up and their generation, and then just seeing all the information that is out there now, that it's becoming more acceptable for men to show these feelings, to express their emotions, and hopefully that will continue and these numbers will start to balance out, because men and women will be more comfortable being on the same level. So this last little part said it's never too late for gratitude. There's some good news. If you realize you haven't been expressing gratitude enough, you shouldn't worry. Gratitude can be learned, and you can encourage others to do so too. Psychologist Jeffrey Froh invented and implemented a gratitude curriculum for kids aged 8 to 11. The pupils who received the lesson demonstrated an increase in appreciation, grateful thinking, and positive emotions in comparison to classmates who did not partake. The effects of this program were still noticeable 5 months later. Simply writing down what you are grateful for once a week can take you a long way. So try it, be in your own experiment. Every day for 10 days, write down 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for. See if it helps. See if it changes that mindset. I know for me, it definitely did. It helps me, unwind at night. It helps me regain focus, and anything that I'm thing that's weighing on my mind or making it hard for me to sleep, trying to look at that positivity can really, really go a long way. So thank you for joining us. As always, please, we'd love for you to come in and partake in our groups. You can join online or come in and see us. But thank you.